here we have an HTML template, right? A Angular template that is being fed this array of data from the controller, right? So we have it here. We would like to be able to iterate over this, right? And render something that looks like what we have down here. Okay. So what we need to be able to do is look at how is it that we implemented this, right? Looking at the template and see if we can generalize some mapping between the structure of all these widgets, right, and the data model, the data that we're being fed from the controller, right? See if we can identify some patterns, right? And that's generally the work of all software engineers, right? To identify some pattern, right, so that we can automate it and not have to do this manually. So let's see if we go back to the template. Okay, let's see if we can find some pattern. Let's see. Looks like all widgets seem to be embedded inside of this outer div that is tagged as WD widget, right? There's one here. There's another one here, right? If we collapse them, we see that they all start with widget, right? They all start with widget. So that's a pattern. So we could maybe use one of them as a template, right, and iterate and display each one of these templates as we go, as we iterate over this array. Let's see what else. Let's see. They all seem to have this WD toolbar at the very top. Right, they all seem to have that. Okay, and then what seems to be changing from one widget to the next is the actual content, right? The H1 Gizmodo or H3, and then this one is an image. So that seems to be the only thing that changes from one widget to the next. Okay, so let's first grab what's common, right, and then we'll focus on what's different. So let's grab one of these as a template. Let's copy this, and let's use as a template. And what we're going to do is just iterate, and copy and paste each one of these for every instance of widget that we have in that array, right? So we already know how to do that. We can just repeat, and we'll say that we're going to create a local widget object for every instance object in the array model.widgets. Yes, right? If we do that, right, and we render this again, notice that we have Gizmodo just displayed as many times as we have objects in there, right? Which is to be expected. Looks like the toolbar survived. It looks well enough. Well, let's change this the way it should be. Notice that this first one, it's supposed to be of type heading, size 2, which it is, right? But that's just a coincidence. The second one is supposed to be another heading, right? But of type 4. Yes, right? But the next one is supposed to be an image, not a heading, right? And this is because we just have the H1 hard-coded in there. Yes? All right. Okay. What we'd like to be able to do is see if we can have the data in each one of these, right? Maybe just the widget object, so that we can then decide on what we want to display, right, for each widget, right? So let's re-render that. Notice that now we have the actual data as the content, right, displayed inside of each widget, right? So let's remove this model widget down here. Now we have it as the raw JSON that represents each one of the widgets is the actual content for each one of the widgets right now. Okay. So what we could do is somewhat like an if statement, or maybe like a switch case statement that can switch on the type of the widget, and then display different content, right? If it's a heading, then I'll display H1 or H2 or H3 depending on the size, right? And we can certainly do that. Okay. In the assignment, we gave you a snippet of code that does just that, right? It behaves just like a switch case statement. Okay. And that's what we're going to do to be able to render one content versus another depending on the data type.